I lift, just like that. That towel, lift straight up, lift and lift. From here, I can hold, whether bottom leg straight or bent, really doesn't matter. What is going on, everybody? In this video, we're gonna go over a simple progression that we can use for adductor rehab. Your adductors, if you're not familiar, or your groin, they're muscles that obviously adduct the hip. They also contribute to flexion, and some do a little bit of knee flexion as well. These muscles can get strained and or they just chronically feel tight. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're weak. So this video, we're gonna go over a little stepwise progression of just some exercises that I might use to rehab an injury like this, starting from what I would consider the easiest to a progression to like a Copenhagen, which is a little bit of a harder, more advanced exercise. You don't have to be injured to do these. I find these are actually really good to work into a normal strength training program. They're a good daily mobility routine, you name it. These are often neglected muscles. So without further ado, let's get to the first drill. Side lying adduction. We're working on the bottom leg. So pretty simple, literally describing in the name. So you're gonna go on your side, get as stacked on that bottom hip as you can, straighten that knee out, and I lift, just like that. Real easy. Try to get as high as I can, no compensation through my pelvis or my lower back. Try not to dig in too much with the bottom or the top leg. Get up as high as I can, slowly all the way down. Now you can experiment with how much hip flexion you create versus extension. Really, to me, it doesn't matter too much, but this is something easy. You know, I could bang out like 50 reps right now. So slow, controlled. You can add a little bit of an ankle weight to add the challenge a little bit, or even a band. If you had like a exercise band anchored to like a kettlebell at the bottom, then there's a little bit of resistance at the top. But yeah, side lying adduction. This is what we would call, what I would call an adductor bridge or plank even, with a shorter lever. So for that, meaning we have our knee bent. I have a little bit of like a towel here or a pillow just for the comfort of my knee. So I'm working on the top leg. Now, this is one of those exercises that creates a lot of things at once. We get good shoulder stability, we get a little bit of core function, and of course we get the load through the adductor muscles. So what I'm gonna do is lift, pushing that knee into that towel, lift straight up. Just like that. Hold. Now we progress this a tad by lifting and then lifting the bottom leg. Now I'm working on both of them at the same time. Again, adding a little bit of weight or resistance to that top leg makes it a little bit more challenging. Also want to try to make sure we're in a good straight line. We're about as close as we can be in a straight line. So I'm here. I don't want to be like all flexed forward like that. Gotta get nice and straight, lift. The next little progression of that would be the same exercise, but we're going to create more of a longer lever. So instead of the knee being bent, knee's going to be straight. Now I'm pushing that foot down instead of the knee, lift and lift. So for exercises like this one and the one previous, I can do this for a hold count where I'm just holding for 30 seconds, whatever you can do. I can do it in sets and reps where I'm up, down. You can combine the two. But obviously it gets a little bit harder when we're creating more of a longer lever situation. Now, you can do this with the leg straight, slightly bent, but I don't want you super flexed through the lower back like I mentioned on the last one. Moving up in the progression, we're gonna do the ever famous popular Copenhagen Adductor drill. Just like the last one, the bridge/plank, we can do a little bit of a shorter lever with the knee bent. We can do a longer lever with the knee or the whole leg straight. So for the short lever, I just get my knee up to here, good support through the shoulder, and then I bridge up. So from here, I can hold, I can drop and lift. I can also bring the top leg up, and then obviously you can combine all three of those. So I usually do this where I'm in more of a straight line through here, like that. You can do these at the hip inflection as well. Some of these adductor muscles, they do different things. Same thing with the going to the long lever, straight knee, all the way up, get support, bring the leg up. Whether bottom leg straight or bent, really doesn't matter. But that's it. Obviously, it's a lot harder to do. There are variations you can add to these Copenhagens, such as a little bit of rotation through the pelvis, but you know, we're just laying some foundations here. So a lot of isometric plus concentric contraction. There you have it. Adductor loading, if you will, from an easier to a harder exercise. I'm a little out of breath, and I probably should have done them on both sides because now my right groin is zonked out. And a lot of our rehab programs, training programs, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to meet people where they're at. What can they accomplish? What kind of pain can they tolerate? And then as they climb that obstacle or that hurdle, then we make it harder, basically. As I said at the beginning, you don't need to be injured to do these things. I think you'd be surprised how much good groin or adductor strength helps all sorts of things like squats, deadlifts, things like that. So these aren't the only drills that you can do. It's just the quickest thing I could think of that involved just being on our side with minimal equipment. Obviously, there are a lot of more, I personally think, meaningful exercises we could do for the groin that are more weight-bearing and standing, which maybe I'll discuss in a different video in the future. If you have other ideas, please shoot them in the comments. If not,